Alright guys, this is going to be our first attack video here. Going to go through some of the basics of it, some of the stacking that needs to happen. I know we've discussed it in previous videos, like how to stack certain abilities, how to stack certain items. We're going to go over that in a little bit more detail this time around. We're also going to briefly discuss how to make up for the fact that a certain color seems to be deficient of a certain talent, be it whether it's a buff or a debuff. So without further note, let's just get into it. So let's look at some stuff. We're going to do it all in reference to the current Titan. So I'm actually going to show you my hits. I'm going to show you how I prepare for this thing, the whole gambit. And then hopefully that's enough to explain what's going on. So the current Titan is a blue guy, 7-star. It's pretty low, 1.7 million starting out. So basically we're starting out in the black right off the get-go on these. The way you can tell, generally speaking, is we're good for about 120 K an hour. I mean, we'll fluctuate, you know, between having a lot and having very little, depending on what time it is during the day. But generally speaking, as long as that number comes down quickly, his overall life, and starts matching the clock, then you'll know that everything's okay. There's no reason to panic. It's all happening as expected. Now, if someone was using a lot of flasks in order to do that, well, that's a different story. But generally speaking, it's a good rule of thumb. So we got a blue one. So the general strategy on all these guys is pretty straightforward. Overload. With a Titan, we love overloading. So we'll use the color that's the strongest against this color. In this case, green is the strongest against blue. So provided we have the heroes, we would prefer to do not an all-green team, although some would argue, yes, do an all-green team. I would argue I've tried it and it sucks. Don't do it. You're not strong enough, you're not powerful enough to do it. There's no way. Plus, you also want to take advantage of Wu, if you have Wu. If you don't have Wu, there's other options, and I'll discuss those too. Must-haves, if you don't have Wu. There's definite must-haves. You're going to need debuff guys. You're going to need guys that are going to take away the defense of the Titan. Absolutely have to have those guys, especially if you don't have Wu. Anyhow, so without further ado, so we need a team of green. So in our opinion, the best configuration would be like a 4-1 in this case, right? Maybe when Season 2 comes out and Tarlag comes out, because he's green, I would do all 5 maybe. But he's a Wukong replacement. So I'm going to want green guys, and I'm going to want them to be stackable, and they have to have some amount of leveling, because they can't just die with the first hit. So let's go look at my team. No, I don't want to go in there. Come on. I want to go in here, edit team. Yeah, whenever I go to look at my team in the Titan thing, they always put the same icon at the bottom right, so be careful with that, because I've accidentally, when I'm going in there to view, I've accidentally gone in to fight the Titan when I wasn't ready. Alright, so the way I like to do it is I like to line my guys on up from left to right. I'm right-handed, it makes natural sense. I read from left to right, I concentrate on left, and I go to the right. And I like putting them in this order because this is the order that they should be in terms of how you fire them off, with Wu being on the far right. The reason why Wu's over here is because he's got this nasty little side effect of him. He's got minus 32% accuracy. Yuck. So if you turn him on and then you go and you do all these guys, if you don't hit the Titan, you don't get the buff. Like this guy here, this all allies get 30% critical chance. You get that, right? That's fine. Let's see. Here, this guy. All enemies. So anything that affects the enemies. If you got Wukong on, this could miss on one of those enemies, or the Titan. So you turn him on last, right? You want to get maximum benefit. So what you generally do, and the same thing applies for player versus player, is you'll put your debuffs first, right? That's this guy. See, removes buffs from all enemies. That's a debuff. So that's important because you're going to go up against these guys in player versus player that have a buttload of defense on, you know, whether it be shields, from multiple special abilities, heart, life regeneration, mana generation. They're going to have all kinds of stuff on, and you need to turn that stuff off. That's why you put him first. You debuff everybody, so you make sure you strip them on down so now you can do maximum damage. Then you begin by doing your multi-attack. So anything that'll attack all the guys on the screen. This is good for player versus player, but it doesn't really apply to the Titan. But I have a special case in this case. So normally you would put Little John first because he's got the minus 64 mana, plus he hits all the enemies. So generally he would be first, right? Where Gregorian is. But, and this is a special case, Gregorian has this plus 30% critical for all allies. So you would put him before Little John in this case, because when Little John goes and hits the 5 guys on out there, when you're doing player versus player, each one of those hits has a 30% increased chance of being a critical hit. So that's huge. So you want to make sure that's definitely on, because there's no missing with that one, right? And then all your hitters and stuff. So like she doesn't do anything other than hit hard, so she gets to be last. So generally you'll set them up like this. Of course, I guess if you're left-handed you might go the other way, but I don't know. Whatever. That's the deal there. In terms of battle items. Battle items matter when you're going up against particular Titans. What are their abilities? So let's go and check that out. All enemies get minus 20% defense for 6 turns. Okay, so that's not the end of the world. So there's 2 different ways that you can deal with this, with these buffs and debuffs, right? So they're going to debuff us by minus 20 for 6 turns. So you can either A, put something on like a turtle banner. If you put a turtle banner on all your guys, that will cancel that effect. That's one way to cancel it. Another way to cancel it is you use one of those healers like Melindor, and they heal everybody, and it removes the buff. So it'll get rid of that minus 20%. Right? No, I take that back. I said that wrong. I am going to correct myself. No. He won't take away the minus defense on us. We need to use a healer or someone who cures allies' status ailments. We need to use that type of hero to cure us so that minus 20% goes away. Putting something like a dragon banner will also work, because basically anything that counteracts this problem, anything that'll give us more defense, will then replace whatever's currently on us. So you get more bang for your buck if you bring in, let's say on this one here, minus 20% defense. I say you go turtle banners. This is definitely a turtle banner kind of guy. So I don't need to bring in dotes. I mean, that's the other way you can get rid of this too, but I don't need dotes now because, well, I just bring in turtle banners and then I get the extra defense. I'm good to go. So that's the concept here. So do I have enough mana to do this? Is the next thing. Let's see, do I have enough mana? So I got my 5 set up, got that. I don't want this. This is garbage. Time stops are always nice. But you know what? I'm not going to waste a time stop on this guy, but I will show you on guys that are stronger at some point the time stop method of attack. Oh, I got only 3. Crapatola. So generally I like to set it on up like this. Right, and then, yeah, we'll throw something over here, whether it's axes, arrows, whatever. Right, and the whole concept here is, you see that plus 25 defense? Yeah, it'll completely swap out the minus 20 defense. So they'll hit me with minus 20, and then I'll use that banner and I'll go to plus 25 immediately. It isn't like I'm only going to get like plus 5. It's going to completely revert it. So it's a 55% swing in defense, right? So anyhow, that'll be that. Shit, I only have 3. Alright, I'm going to have to quick do a farm. You guys can watch me do 1 farm. Hopefully I get my bone. If not, I'm going to go in without it. No. Yeah, well, Oricrom, I really want that thing. One of the things I like to do, and this will be helpful for you guys, attack with the team that you want to bring in for the Titan beforehand, because you're not going to be used to seeing the colors, right? Because you just switched to another Titan, and like I'm not used to seeing green so much. Green and yellow. So I go on in here just to get used to it, and generally I'll play it. Now the reason why I'm not playing, I'm auto-playing it, is because I want to be able to go around